The wind in Chicago has a way of cutting through you when your pockets are empty. It doesn't just chill your skin, it chills your hope. My small apartment had become a place where I counted every penny and every heartbeat. Painting was my only escape, but art is a demanding lover. It takes everything from you and sometimes gives nothing back in return. I sat among my canvases, surrounded by beauty but haunted by the hunger in my stomach. When the rent became a mountain I could no longer climb, the walls felt like they were closing in. I had avoided Eric for weeks, jumping at every sound in the hallway. I felt like a criminal in my own home. The day I finally opened the door to him, I felt the last of my pride slipping away. He didn't look like a monster, he just looked like a man who was tired of waiting. But the way he looked at me changed everything. That night was a blur of confusion and desperation. I let him stay because I thought it was the only way to keep my world from falling apart. I thought I was being smart, but I was actually breaking my own spirit. When the sun came up, the reality of what happened felt like a weight on my chest. Eric left without a smile, and I realized that I hadn't saved my home. I had only lost my sense of safety within it. The whispers of the neighbors were like poison in the air. Mrs. Lewis and Mr. Grant looked at me as if I were a stain on the floor. Their judgment was a mirror that showed me a version of myself I didn't want to be. I realized then that Eric's silence was his way of owning me. He didn't respect me as an artist or a person. To him, I was just another debt to be collected in a different way. Something inside me finally snapped. I realized that living in a palace is worthless if you have to crawl on your knees to stay there. I decided that I would rather be homeless and proud than sheltered and ashamed. I packed my life into a few boxes and left that building behind. I didn't have a plan, but for the first time in months, I could breathe. The air was cold, but it was mine. I found a tiny room in a louder, rougher part of the city. It was ugly and cramped, but there was no Eric there. There were no judgmental whispers in the halls, only the sound of other people struggling to survive. I took jobs that made my hands ache and my back tired. I cleaned offices in the middle of the night and delivered heavy boxes in the rain. I did it because every dollar I earned was a brick in the wall of my new life. I stopped buying expensive paints and started using charcoal and cheap paper. I found that my art didn't need fancy materials to be powerful. It just needed my honesty. Every week, I put a few dollars into an envelope for Eric. I didn't want to leave any part of myself with him. I wanted to pay back every cent of the rent so that he would have no power over my story. Months of hard work began to change me. My eyes grew sharper and my voice grew steadier. I wasn't just a girl who painted anymore, I was a woman who had fought for her own soul. I started showing my charcoal sketches to a small coffee shop owner nearby. He liked the raw energy of the drawings. He told me they felt like the real Chicago, hard, beautiful, and stubborn. People who came in for their morning coffee started to notice my work. They didn't see a girl who couldn't pay rent. They saw a woman who understood what it meant to be human. One afternoon, a woman walked into the shop and stared at my favorite piece for an hour. She was an art scout for a major gallery. She said my work had a haunting resilience that she hadn't seen in years. She offered me a chance to display my work in a collective show downtown. I didn't cry this time. I simply nodded and went back to work, knowing that I had earned this moment. The night of the show, I stood in a room full of people in expensive clothes. My paintings were hanging on white walls, lit by soft spotlights. I felt like I was seeing my own life from the outside. I saw the Rent painting, the one I made the night I left my old apartment. It was dark and messy, but it was the most honest thing I had ever created. It sold within the first 10 minutes. As I was talking to a buyer, I saw a familiar face in the crowd. It was Eric. He looked out of place, clutching a glass of wine and looking at my paintings with a confused expression. He walked up to me, trying to put on his old, serious landlord face. "Maya," he said. "I didn't know you had this in you." I'm impressed. Maybe we can talk about that dinner now? I looked at him and saw nothing but a stranger. He didn't understand that the girl he knew was gone. She had died in that small apartment, and a stronger version of her had taken her place. The dinner is still a no, Eric, I said quietly. And you should probably leave. This gallery is for people who appreciate art, not for people who collect debts. He tried to say something, but the words failed him. He turned around and walked out of the gallery, and I felt the last string connecting me to my past finally snap. With the money from the show, I didn't move into a luxury penthouse. I moved into a clean, bright studio with a big window. I bought a comfortable bed and the best oil paints I could find. I started a small fund to help other young artists who were struggling with their rent. I didn't want anyone else to feel like they had to make the choice I once made. My life is still simple, but it is no longer unstable. I know how to save for the bad months, and I know how to enjoy the good ones without losing my head. I still see Mrs. Lewis sometimes when I walk through the old neighborhood. She tries to look away, but I make sure to catch her eye and smile. My smile is my victory. I don't hate the version of me that was scared and lonely. I realize now that she was just trying to survive. I have forgiven her for the mistakes she made when she was in the dark. Every morning, I wake up and look at the city of Chicago. It is still a tough, windy place, but I am no longer afraid of it. I have found my rhythm in the noise. I paint what I see, and what I see is beautiful. I see the strength in the faces of strangers and the light that hides in the shadows of the skyscrapers. My bank account is no longer empty, but more importantly, my heart is no longer heavy. I have learned that freedom isn't the absence of struggle, it's the ability to choose your own path. I am Maya. I am a painter. I am 30 years old, and I finally belong to myself. The door to my past is closed, and the canvas of my future is wide open. I am no longer a victim of my circumstances. I am the architect of my own life. I am free, and that is more than enough.